Toyota has been on quite a tear over the last few years, finally revamping its entire lineup of trucks. All of its body-on-frame vehicles, the Tundra, the Tacoma, and even going so far as introducing probably what was the most anticipated SUV, well, at least for truck enthusiasts last year, the all-new Land Cruiser. Now, I have reviewed the Land Cruiser. The video is on Motor Illustrated's YouTube channel. You can go and check it out. And maybe I can save you a little bit of time and trouble. I really enjoyed it, but didn't quite like it as much as I was hoping to. But I did say in that review that the Land Cruiser's biggest problem is this. And now that I've spent almost a week with the all-new 2025 Toyota 4Runner, I remain convinced that that is the case. Though, and I'll tell you now, again, as always, I kind of give you a little bit of a hint at the conclusion, both of those vehicles have one, not critical flaw, but one thing that bothers. And I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way about them. I'll tell you, obviously, what that is in the following video. But yes, this is the all-new 6th generation Toyota 4Runner. And as I'll do the walk around, I'll tell you more about my thoughts as far as the design is concerned, but it is exactly what you would expect it to be. And that's including very, very expensive. And that's probably the one constant between the Tacoma, Land Cruiser, Tundra, and the 4Runner. I still cannot wrap my brain around what Toyota Canada wants for these vehicles. Given what they are, but then given what they are, maybe they're kind of worth it. Anyhow, in the following video, I will do, as always, a number of laps of this vehicle, and then we're going to go for a drive. And as you can see, I kind of found a slightly unused, gravelly, muddy road, so I might go exploring a little bit, as one should with a 4Runner. Without a doubt, the best thing about the new 4Runner is that it looks exactly like a 4Runner should. I absolutely recall being right by the vehicle when it was first showed off, when I got to drive the new Tacoma last year, as well as the Camry and the Crown Signia, yes. I was completely blown away by just how Tacoma-like this vehicle, Tacoma 4Runner-like this vehicle looks. It's just spectacular in so many ways. The dimensions, the proportions, the styling, everything, absolutely everything about it is perfect. In the US, base price starts at $40,770. That's for the base SR5. At the other end of the spectrum is the Trail Hunter, which is just an absolutely epic looking vehicle. $66,900. In Canada, the SR5 starts at $54,200. Yeah, that's $54,200. And with that, you do get an 8-inch touchscreen display, wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, power rear window, which is a must. I'll show that to you in a few moments. 7-inch digital cluster, which is just a little display in the center. Heated front seats, and that's about it. The other end of the spectrum, the aforementioned Trail Hunter, is $85,000 in Canada. That's a lot and lots of money. My tester right here, what's actually quite interesting is that this is a one step above the base SR5. So this is a TRD Sport, no word of a lie, obviously. And it's a $4,800 option over the base price. So for $59,002, I don't know why the two, you do get a TRD grille, these 20-inch wheels, a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, I'll show it to you in a few moments, heated steering wheel, sport fabric seats, and a sport-tuned suspension. Between you and I, unless you step up to the hybrid, which I will not talk about this time around, this is really probably the sweet spot, though I would get the TRD Premium for a grand total of $63,702 because you get 18-inch wheels, more aggressive tires, the blacked out flares, which just give this vehicle all the more attitude. But the important bits are the locking rear differential, the Bilstein dampers, skid plates, and a 14-inch touchscreen. But yeah, that's about it. The window is right here with the locks, and there it goes. That's just fantastic. Must remain always and always available on this thing. What isn't available, however, is a power hatch for $60,000. But you do get 1,269 liters of boot space, which is enormous. Remember, this is available with the third row as well. TRD Sport has a 5-seater configuration. But yeah, it doesn't happen very often anymore where I get a vehicle without a power tailgate. I'm difficult, but I love my power tailgates. The interior is typical Toyota, where you have hard, kind of good-looking plastics, but otherwise, I mean, it's the space. The fabric seats are actually quite nice. I have to admit, I do love fabric, but this is more of the utilitarian type of stuff. This is not classy, you know, faux leather replacement type of stuff. But the amount of room back here is enormous. You could squeeze a normal sized, you know, teenager, even a small adult between the two seats. But yeah, so the thing is, and when I do say that it looks like a 4Runner on the outside, it also looks like a 4Runner on the inside. Again, the plastics, the chunky dashboard, just the materials and the way everything is laid out. There's a lot going on. Let's start it up. So there's your digital instrument cluster. It's configurable. You have a few options as far as what you can see. This is, I think it's going to be loud, the 8-inch touchscreen display, which for $60,000 at this point in time in 2025, closing in on 2026, is a little bit, well, not that it's unacceptable, but it's kind of a tough pill to swallow. But the controls, love the hard HVAC controls. The buttons are very easy to operate, very straightforward, and I love the size and the grip. So here, yeah, I'm kind of off-roading it, but not really. So I'm just in 4 high in case you have your tow haul, and you also have your drive modes, which right there you can see Sport, Normal, and Eco. I've been using Sport a lot. I'll try to explain that to you in a few moments. But storage is good. There's your wireless charger, which I don't think that the phone's gonna hold in there when you're going off-roading. That is a certainty. Good storage. The seats are actually fairly comfortable. I kind of skipped over that. It's good bolstering. They're generally comfortable, and because it's a fabric grip, well, because the fabric, it grips as opposed to leather where it might slide. The blue at first I thought was kind of cool, but because this thing has no ambient lighting, then Toyota decided to throw this in, which at first I thought was cool, like I said, but not so much. In fact, when you get up to the TRD Premium, it does without this, and that's another reason why I would skip that. Otherwise, I mean, nice little shelving there. Good pods. Visibility as a whole is pretty good. You got a nice little opening back there, and I think that's it. So let's go for a drive now. Let's just begin right off the cuff with a point of contention, I think, and that's the powertrain. Gone now, as you surely know, the V6 engine, which had serviced the 4Runner for, I don't know, the dawn of time. There was one thing about that engine, is that it always delivered what you needed it to deliver at all times. But V6s are kind of bad. Though, you know, on the Passport, I don't know, maybe. Gone is the V6, now replaced with a turbocharged 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine. That puts out 278 horsepower, very close to the V6. It's not identical. Anyway, and 317 pound-feet of torque. But that's what makes the real difference. One of the issues, and I think I kind of touched on this with the Land Cruiser, is the auditory experience isn't really that great. And other than just above idle, you probably won't be able to hear it. It kind of sounds like the old V6, but as soon as you get above 3,000 RPM, I don't know. I guess that's not really important or relevant anymore, but it is kind of, I don't know, it takes away from the inherent brawn that you expect in a Toyota 4Runner. Though with the power, and I'm just in normal drive mode, power is good, and well, as the RPMs climb, the sound just gets worse and worse. But I thought maybe it would have been worse, but it's, I don't know, I'm putting way too much emphasis on this, but I think it's the first thing that disappointed me. And I showed you the drive modes, and that was in normal. And I found that in many cases, throttle pickup and kickdown from the 8-speed automatic transmission in normal, I haven't even tried eco because normal is so slow, is slow. The kickdown, the pickup. So I've been doing most of my driving in sport, which may explain why, I mean, I've just done a lot of highway. So my fuel consumption average very much dropped. But I'm closing in on 13 compared to the, well, NR Can estimated, Toyota Canada estimated 11.2 liters per 100 kilometers. That's, maybe it's possible, though it seems to me unlikely in real world driving. This is a near 5,000 pound SUV after all. But the absence of the V6 replaced by the 4-cylinder does not impact its capabilities. It can still tow 6,000 pounds. And it still drives like a 4Runner. But maybe just a notch better, especially when it comes to steering. It's kind of tuned a little bit differently. The sport tuned suspension is fine, is lovely. The 4Runner still likes to sway slightly, but that's just a small detail, small thing. But I'm sure it's better than the base SR5, and I am convinced, without having to drive it, that the Bilstein and the TRD Premium dampers change absolutely everything. That and 18-inch wheels and tires with far more sidewall is a better buy. For $63,000, I'm convinced, unless you go to the Hybrid Max, is the best purchase. Brake pedal feels great. I mean, it's noisy, lots of wind noise in here, but it's all part of the 4Runner experience. I mean, in the segment, I mean, I mentioned the Passport, Trail Sport. It's right up there. I've not driven it, but I know that V6 well. And it's creamy smooth, makes lovely noises, and it's relatively fuel efficient. So I don't think that the 4-cylinder here is going to have any advantage over that. And there are a few others like the Grand Cherokee, but you know, the 3.6 liter is also a V6 that's in, you know, now long in the tooth, but still delivers what it needs to deliver when required. So can't really fault it for that. I wanted to be far more excited about the 4Runner, but the 4-cylinder has kind of put a slight, minor, tiny little damper on my enthusiasm. But be that as it may, I mean, I'm still normal. It's pulling fine. There's nothing. 6,000 RPM. But I'm moving at a good clip. That's what's important. But look, it's a 4Runner. It's a living legend. And with the Hybrid Max in the lower trims, I think is a smarter choice, at least a more attractive choice in many respects than the Land Cruiser, and I will end on that.